I love it. I love it. Merry Christmas.
It is Christmas jumper time.
Oh, it really is. I this is not a Christmas jumper, but everyone says it's a Christmas jumper, so it's my Christmas jumper when it suits me.
Does it come
Basically,
out at any time other than Christmas?
it comes out all winter.
Oh, right, okay.
But I do look like a Christmas pudding, to be fair. So,
You do.
yeah,
How do you know it's not a Christmas jumper?
because I bought it from Bowden in about 2003.
Right, okay.
Um, yeah, I don't think Christmas jumpers were a thing back then.
Get in touch if you think they were. We want to know
Yeah.
your thoughts.
Uh, anyway, yeah, before we start today's episode, let's do a quick thank you to our sponsors. We've got our seasonal sponsor, where we're supported by Core Body Temperature,
Mhm.
whose core sensor helps endurance athletes track and understand their core body temperature in real time, making winter heat training, layering decisions, and race pacing that bit smarter. And for today's special episode sponsor, we're kindly supported by Catula, who have just released the Ghost microspikes, and they have just landed on Emma Harrison's doorstep for a review. So I'm quite excited to hear about those.
Mm.
And of course, we're still waiting for Nick's review of the core body temperature. Being a coach, he is really diving deep into those stats. And I think, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he says. So yeah,
I'll bet he is.
big thanks to both of them.
Have you ever worn any spikes?
I have, yes. Yeah, 100% they make a huge difference. I have the original Cthulhu microspikes actually, which weigh a ton. They're
Oh, do they?
they are brilliant. Again, they've got to be 10 years old.
Right.
I wear them skiing just to put on my boots for walking around. I've worn them in races. I mean, it's a good resistance training. I actually even wore them. I mean, many people will be shaking their heads woefully when they hear this. I wore them for the first 10 miles of the Peddersway Ultra in about 2016, maybe 15, 16, 17, somewhere like that then. It had been a super muddy year. It's a January race, super muddy. And I just thought, you know what? I want something to help me get through the mud. So I
Right.
wore them for this first 10 miles. And it worked. I mean, they worked. I just literally plowed through the middle of the mud. But my legs were incredibly heavy for the rest of the race when I took them off.
I'll bet they were. So that, yeah, okay. So it adds a little bit of extra. Well, the old ones add a bit
The
of
old
extra
ones do.
fatigue.
So I
Yeah.
think these ghost
Yeah.
ones are stripped down, super light version.
Cool.
So I think they're going to be really interesting. And yeah, just great for anyone doing any winter hiking. I think
Mm.
I think it's important to kind of acknowledge the difference between them and crampons. So again, Emma will be able to, really draw that line and tell us what they're good for, and where you need to make that sort of progression into crampons.
Cool. So
Uh,
how's your running going?
it's good. I'm knackered
Yeah.
all the time, but I'm really enjoying it. I mean, it's next week, so pretty much. I think I did my last sort of heavy session yesterday, which was called Satan's Staircase. And that,
Nice.
that was a very mean workout. Thank you, Faye. But yeah, no, it's really good, and I can't wait. Actually, it's the race I'm doing, for anyone who doesn't know, is the Tour de Helvellyn by Nav4, and it's going to be 38 miles around Helvellyn, strangely
Wicked.
enough. But it's traditionally in the Lake District. It's a bit of a, Christmas opener, and I think for me it'll start it will sort of start the beginning of Christmas for me. I'll be putting my
Mm.
out of office on the Friday. I've got a lovely pub booked the night before and the night after, right at the start and finish. Baz is going to be running around mopping up after me. And yeah, for me, it's a sort of season closer and a time for me to say, right, do you know what? This is my time, and I can't wait.
Yeah. So this is quite bold because you're like just sort of coming back to running the last few months and you're just like straight into a 38 miler.
Uh, yeah, yeah, but I've done it before, and I
Yeah.
kind of, Joe is a friend and a client, and I wanted to go back and do something that I know it
Mm.
obviously very well. I know that whole area very well.
Mm.
I also, because I've done it before, I kind of want to benchmark myself against when I did it before,
Right, yeah.
which was
Mm.
with a spine pack because I had actually been entered into the spine the next month,
Right.
which is convenient, seeing as our guest today is Phil Hayday-Brown. Um, but so yeah, I won't be running obviously with the full spine kit this time, thankfully. But I think it will just be a good. It'll give me a good idea of where I'm at. Obviously I do
Mm.
feel like I'm at the very beginning, but it'll.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in my head. I've got that time
Yeah.
as my goal time, just to see if I can do it unfit but lighter.
I really like that. Yeah, the measuring against sort of where you've been before and where you are now. I absolutely. I've done that on a much smaller scale. I used to have a 10K route around here that I called like the Taxel Road Fitness Test, and
Mm,
I'd blast my way around it and then just see
okay.
where I was versus sort of previous year Robbins.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's good. How about you? How's your 5K training going at the other end of the scale?
Yeah, really good, I think. Yeah, definitely getting fitter and faster. My speed sessions are where you can sort of tell where you sit at the moment, so sort of
Mm.
how comfortable the faster speeds are. And well, they've been really good and really successful, apart from the one I did the other night. But I did it about an hour after I had a massive burger, which
Mm.
was a big mistake.
Oh my goodness, I can just see you waddling now.
Yeah. So yeah, it nearly came back up, but I managed to managed to get through
Okay, how not to fuel
it. Yeah,
speeds.
exactly. And I knew when I picked it that it was a bad idea, and I still just shunned the common sense to enjoy the burger. So
No, okay. Well, Phil is here. We'll let him connect to his audio and screen. And yeah, and welcome while he does that, we can welcome Phil Hayday-Brown, who I'm sure everyone must know is the race director of the Spine. Um, and I don't know. Is he the race director of all the races? There you are.
Uh,
Hello, hello, and welcome.
yes, yeah, thanks for having me along.
No, thank you so much. You must be busy. I mean, how many weeks are out are we now? Three, four?
Yeah, yeah, it's very close. Just over 4 weeks. So
Yeah.
it's yeah. Well, at this stage, really everything should be done, but there are
Yes.
always last minute things that bite us just before Christmas normally.
Always the way. What sort of things come up and bite you now?
Oh gosh, I mean, in the past we've had messages from a lot of the stakeholders on the race saying that this part of the trail's closed. Um, and suddenly we have to put a diversion in.
Mm,
GPX changes, and all the information that goes out changes. So, which is why we do the live briefings now at the start line, just in case stuff like that happens prior
mm,
to it. Lots of dropouts, lots of potential change of venues. Anything and everything normally
mm.
happens.
Do you have a sort of rotating waiting list? If someone drops out, does someone else just slot in?
Yeah, but that's all closed now. So
Okay.
no more people join. So. That's
So
we've got
that's it.
so everything's in the printers, everything's getting done. So all the numbers are on their way type thing.
All right. So if someone drops out now, there's no extra person added to the race at this point. Right.
No.
Okay. We're
Yeah.
still with the. Is that because of the length of the race, or is it just a bit of an admin nightmare for you?
It is a bit of an admin nightmare. We just got to put a line in the sand somewhere. So, we just decide to do it normally at the beginning of December. Uh,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Fair enough.
just give us time to just get all of our ducks in the row and, make sure everything's done. I mean, there's there has been times where, someone's come last minute and we think, okay, that'll be okay. And we can slot people in like that, but it's very rare.
Mm. Like the hidden named runner on the roster.
What's that?
Yeah.
There's someone on the start list for the spine where you can't see their name. We're not allowed to know who they are. I mean,
Ooh.
I've got my guesses, but I won't press you for any kind of answer on that today.
Is
Uh,
that is that like a privacy or security thing or just a how to razz people up thing?
well, it seems to be working in the razzing people up thing, so I'll go with that.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Should
Awesome.
we go back to the beginning of the spine and indeed your history, Phil, because it's fascinating, and if people haven't heard it, then they need to.
Yes.
Um, so should we start with expeditions? Like what drew you to taking on such extreme survival expedition based things?
Oh gosh, well, we're going way back.
Yeah.
So it all started for me back in 1996, really. I
Wow.
was always an outdoor instructor, so climbing, kayaking, sailing, all of that, and then I went to work for John Ridgway up in northern Scotland, northwest coast. Um, got into a bit of more of the he did a bit of corporate team building as well. So I got into that and linking that with the outdoors and kind of that's where the main passion came from. I my eyes were opened to the world, anything's possible, that kind of thing. So continued my outdoor um, career, if you like, from there, and got involved with a lot more corporate team building after that. Built up through the years, met some very interesting people doing those kind of events. A lot of military guys, and some of them were doing this crazy race in the north in Nunavut, race to the magnetic North Pole. So I helped them out with a few PR stunts and a bit of team building and that kind of thing, and drove them to the airport and sent them off. And they had such a bad experience doing it that because they were in the event world as well, they decided that they were going to do it themselves and show the organizer how to do it properly.
Oh
Um,
wow.
from that, Polar Challenge was born. And then they asked me to come work for them, and that's how I got into the cold, if you like, up in
Yeah.
sea ice with all the polar bears and all that kind of stuff. So I did that for a few years. Operations manager into director, and we did Top Gear show that they did the car against a dog team and raced across the ice. And then we did a South Pole race, which I was involved in organizing, and then the boss decided that I should join a team. And so I joined a team of two. They needed a third. So I had a month to train for a 550-mile race to the South Pole.
Where did that
What?
start from?
Oh, that was a random position on the Antarctic plateau, at the plateau. It was so no one had really done this route. So we flew in from Cape Town to a Russian base called Novo, and our acclimatization was 10 days skiing up onto the plateau. And then we started the race a few hundred miles ahead of that. We got a plane on skis to pick us up and drop us off to this random spot. So it was a 110-mile warm up and a 440-mile race from a random position
Wow.
heading into the South Pole from the kind of Cape Town side, if you like. So that's really, it's my only claim to fame as far as races go. I'm not an ultra marathon runner, but my only race really, big race was that. I've done a few 10Ks and triathlons, but anything big and ultra was my South Pole race. So after that, I stayed a couple of years to the company after that, left, started my own stuff up, continued my career in the cold. I took some guys to the geographic North Pole. Um, and then the spine was then set up with a chap who I used to work with in the Pole Challenge, a chap called Scott Gilmore. And we set up the spine race 2012, lots of recce's in 2011. And yeah, and then from there, the rest is history, really. It just grew.
Yeah.
We found that kind of niche that wasn't there then uh,
Mm,
in the market. We didn't really know the ultra running market, and then we discovered it was quite vast.
mm.
Lots of races out there, but we found that little adventurous niche that wasn't wasn't filled yet. So we kind of filled that, and here we
Yeah.
are.
Is Scott still involved these days, or is he was it just co-founded and then sort of stepped aside?
He sold up his shares back about 5 years ago now, 2020, just before COVID hit.
Yeah.
Um, so we have a sister company called BTU, Beyond the Ultimate, and they do like desert ultras and jungle ultras and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And at that time they didn't have anything in the UK, so it made sense for them to get some interests domestically. And that's what they did. So I have three new business partners in that sense. They're really nice. They leave me alone to run the spine race, so that's always good.
I was going to say, because you don't really see anything about BTU, do you, on the spine? You don't,
Um,
you're not really
not
aware of their involvement.
not really. That's going to change. We're going to be advertising P2 events to our spiners because there is a link, and
Mm,
spiners are adventurous people. They,
mm,
Mm.
they like to push the boundaries, and that's what the BTU events do, especially in deserts and jungles and stuff, which is my idea of hell.
I'm with you there, totally. Give me
Well,
the snow any day.
Yeah,
yeah,
totally. I can deal with the cold very easily, but dealing with the heat, ugh, horrible.
Bugs.
yeah. We spoke to
That's
Susie
my
Chan about the jungle one, didn't we? And it just it
Yeah.
sounds brutal. Like,
Yeah. Hardcore.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not.
So the recce's for the spine in 2011, was that literally just following the Pennine Way? And how did you come to pick the Pennine Way? And also, did you ever think about? Sorry, it's like four questions at once. Obviously, you could pick any sort of long route you wanted. What drew you to that, I suppose, is what I want to ask.
So, so the idea of the for the spine race came from the race that I used to help out, that race to the magnetic North Pole. So the model for that, that was a 300 nautical mile race across the sea ice with checkpoints and non-stop clock and self-sufficiency and all of that, where it was a proper expedition, and that's kind of where the idea came from. So when we looked to do that in the UK, we looked for a trail that was similar length. And there isn't that many around that
Mm,
length, but the Pennine Way kind of ticked that box. And it was a good linear route. It went through different terrains and mountainous and bog
yeah.
and moorland. Um, but really, we did it in January because we had this naive vision that it was all going to be lovely and white the whole way up. People could do it on skis and pull sleds and all that kind of stuff. Uh, and yeah, reality hit home when we started it, and it was all bogs and lots of mud, and we have had white years, but majority is bogs.
Mm.
In comparison to the sort of polar experience and trying to bring that to the UK, would you say that because it's not this lovely like white snowy adventure, would you say that this is almost a bit soft in comparison because we don't have the extreme cold, the extreme weather, or do you think the British weather in January is harsh enough?
British weather in January can be pretty damn brutal. Yeah, up on places like Crossfell, where we've had it below -15 with the terrible winds and ice, rain, and all sorts of stuff. Plus, it's when you're dealing with high Arctic, it's very dry cold. It's very easy to deal with. Okay, you're dealing with the cold, but it's because it's there and you don't have to worry about the wet a lot. So,
Mm.
but on the spine race, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Especially with the winter and summer. Summer, in one respect, is probably worse because anything can happen in summer. We've had people with hypothermia in summer. So, you've got to kind of plan for really hot and then really cold at the same time. So just having to deal with difference in temperature and terrain, I think, the spine
Mm.
race in the UK is pretty close to being as hard, if not harder, than something like
Yeah.
the race to the Magpole.
That's
I,
interesting.
I like the fact that it's almost equally a challenge in self management and self admin as it is to be able to, run or walk that distance.
Absolutely. Personal admin is a massive thing in the polar regions. If you're not looking after yourself, then you're not going to survive for long. Similarly, in the spine race, if you're not looking after yourself, you haven't got a plan, a foot care plan and a nutrition plan and all that kind of stuff. Then if you try and wing it, then you're going to end up, dropping out really.
Mm, mm.
Speaking of all that sort of personal admin, is that why the decision to make the checkpoints so far apart was made? And how did you decide that it was only going to have was it five checkpoints, five major checkpoints?
Yeah, it was part of that. It was looking at how far ultra runners can go before they might need a kind of a rest stop. And it looks like 40 odd miles is a good indicator on that. So most of the checkpoints are that kind of distance. There is a quite a long one where we put like a run through welfare check place between checkpoint one and checkpoint two. It's a lot longer than that. That's why we have Malum in there
Mhm.
as I guess a run through spot
Mm.
just to check people out before they go up. But historically, we didn't have anything in Malum. We just had a car at the side of the road, just waving at people as they went past, and that turned into a tent. Um, and then the guys who ran the field center at Malham Tarn said we could use that. So then that historically became the place. So yeah, I mean the race has evolved like that over the years with things that have just popped up that people has benefited people a lot on on the route. So
Mm.
it's in a way I'm not going to say easier, but it is a little bit easier in terms of support on the trail from what you get from trail angels and people like that who
Mm.
Yeah, I was going to say you've got I mean, things like the van at the M62 motorway. You can pre-book something, can't you? Like a bacon butt. It's like, hang on a minute. Um,
absolutely.
but you've
Yeah.
also got, I mean, I suppose it also adds to the community, doesn't it? Because then you've got people, you got sort of people coming out of their houses, sort of up further up north, Bellingham and places that
It
help along as well, don't
it
they?
is it is amazing. And people just open up their kind of outbuildings where they've got like a fridge and a sofa and people can help themselves. And it's great that that kind of thing can happen.
Mm.
Just because there's a bunch of crazies running past.
Well, they are that.
I think they all know that as well.
Yeah, yeah, I think they do. That's part of the allure, isn't it? That they're taking on, well, what is labeled the most brutal race. Who came up with that?
Lots of the stuff we would just sit around and chat and we knew we needed a tagline and the word brutal was great. I don't know who came up with it.
Mm.
I know that neither myself or Scott came up with the spine. That was one of Scott's mates apparently. He said, "Oh, we should call it the spine."
Oh, really? Brilliant.
Kind of, it kind of hit. Oh, yeah, that's a really good idea. So we kind of stole that off him, really.
Oh, brilliant.
He's
I used to love being part of Britain's most brutal spine safety. It always made me giggle at the thought that we were the most brutal safety team out there.
Yeah, I mean, it lends itself to all of that. Britain's most brutal race director, Britain's most brutal chef.
Yes. Yeah,
There's
yeah, yeah.
which is really nice. But we're not all that brutal as the volunteers go. But it's nice to have the tag.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it probably is the most brutal race, isn't it? I mean, there's not that many races over 200 miles, and certainly there probably was there even a single other one at
No.
a time when you first started it?
Um, I don't think there was. Like I say, we weren't that tuned in to the ultra running market. We just wanted to do something like we were doing in the high Arctic, but we wanted to do it in the UK. So we just cracked on, and we didn't join any kind of TRA or anything like that. And it was just let's just do it the
Mm.
polar way.
Yeah. I mean, it's an expedition, isn't it? Really. I mean, it's
So people were finding it hard to kind of, pigeonhole it. Is it an ultra? Is it an expedition? So it's really, really tricky to do that because you need more than just ultra running skills. You need to navigate. You need to,
yeah.
the self-admin stuff that, and if you do get into trouble, you gotta know how to use a stove and stay safe and that kind of stuff. And there are just those expedition outdoor skills that a lot of people don't have. Uh,
Mm.
but that is needed on spine race.
Have you seen a difference in your um clientele, customers? I'm not quite sure what you'd call them. Sort of, I imagine, and this is just me thinking out loud, at the beginning, you would have had some very hardy souls who knew what they were doing. And as your sort of fame and renown has grown, you've got more people wanting to enter who perhaps haven't got the experience or haven't done that sort of thing. Can you
So
have seen that?
yeah, so at the beginning we did have the hardy, kind of fell runner types who, 15 pints and then they start that kind of thing.
Yes.
And we had a lot of good ultra runners, but we also had even in the first race, guys who just wanted to give it a go.
Oh,
Um,
really?
and the vetting back then wasn't as brutal as it is now. So we kind of let most people in, and on the start line we had people who were carrying very small little packs with everything in it. There was a chap there who was in full heavy waterproofs with a 65-liter rucksack.
Wow.
Did he finish?
No, no, he didn't. He arrived late, and he stunk of alcohol. I think he was a little bit hungover, and his bag weighed an absolute ton. So I was going through his bag, I think it was, and I was pulling out. There's tuna towers you buy in the supermarket with all
Yeah.
the tins. He had
Yeah.
four,
Four?
so I'm pulling it out, and I was, okay, okay. Do you need to carry all of this? You do know that we give you, there's a drop bag that you can use that we will take up the course for you. And he said, "Oh, that's a good idea." Yes, isn't it? Yeah.
Uh,
It's as if
yes.
we did it on purpose.
Read the emails.
Yeah. So bless him. He did last, and he did 26 miles.
Oh,
And
oh
it
dear.
had enough.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, funny.
and then because people didn't know really what to expect. There were some ultra runners who kind of knew the terrain and that kind of thing, but a lot of people didn't. They underestimated it, and
Mm,
it took on like a massive thing. And but over the years now, the knowledge has grown. Um, you know, Coaching, fitness levels have improved, nutrition's improved. So,
mm.
so because of that, I'm making a few changes in 2027.
Oh, oh,
Pray tell.
please
Pray
tell us
tell.
more. What?
Uh, I don't know when this is going out. When is this?
Um, it will. I think. I was going to discuss this with Robin actually, but I think it'll go out on the 9th. So the night
of
before.
January.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, so I can tell you,
Oh, okay.
if
Go
this
on
is
then.
going to go out next week, I wouldn't tell you, but because it won't be going out just before the race, then that's good.
Yeah.
I'm reducing the time allowance on the winter spine to
Mm.
fall in line with the summer spine. So basically, 12 hours off the finish time,
Right.
Ooh.
which is it's a big thing. Uh,
Mm.
Mm.
but we did the data, and we crunched the numbers, and we're not going to affect that many people.
No.
Most people will finish within the 156 hours. So I think it affected about 10 people. And
Okay.
and knowing some of those people, it's that they are not necessarily hanging out their ass when they finish. They've taken the time because it's there.
Mm.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, we're just bringing it in line with the timings on the summer race. So it'll just mirror what we do in summer. So we'll be finishing on Saturday night, 8 o'clock instead of Sunday morning, 8 a.m. So
Okay. Okay, interesting. And that gives everyone, I suppose, the Sunday to recover, including
this is it.
yourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And we're announcing it obviously before we launch it next year. So, it's a choice. People don't
Mm.
have to do it. They can do it if they want. But I don't think it's going to affect that many. So I don't think we'll see much of a change in the intake.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Was the decision driven by sort of just the time, the extra time at the weekend for everyone to recoup and then?
No, no, a lot of it's driven from what I was mentioning. The everything's improved. We're just trying
Right.
to keep up with the times.
Mm.
Improved, nutrition's improved, training's improved, knowledge of the race is improved, the support along the route is improved,
Mm.
and some of the times in winter are now matching some of the times in summer. So it just makes sense to
Okay.
put it in. Plus, on the plus side for us as well, it helps with safety.
Mm.
We don't have people going over the Cheviot at the end through the middle of the night. We have them going over in the day and finishing 8 p.m. on the Saturday instead of going over in the middle of the night. So in a safety
Yes.
aspect, that works well for us as well. So there's lots of pluses for doing it. I don't think it's going to affect that many people. But like I
Mm.
say, it's a choice.
And it's also maybe a bit of a goal for someone who perhaps did view themselves as being slower. Well, a bit more training.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, people who maybe finished on the in middle of the night on a Sunday one year might think, right, this is a challenge. I'm going to see if I can finish on Saturday night. So,
Mm.
it could be that hook as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for the exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah,
Very
definitely.
interesting. I liked what you said, Kate, about how because the race has evolved so much, the lesser athletes are becoming more interested without having the sort of the nav experience, and that attracts a whole host of new people. And is that now? But you've still got Lindley there, who we spoke to recently on on camp to make sure that people pack all the right stuff.
The kit master.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's still a gatekeeper, if you like, at the start, where, just make sure they've got the right kit. And we've even started to make sure people can actually, navigate. We ask
Mm.
them to, give us a grid reference and show us a bearing, that kind of thing.
Mm.
And, because everything is so reliant these days on technology, but anything can happen out there, especially if it's a cold year and in the January race, your batteries could fail, anything. So you've got to know how to use a map and compass.
Mm. But you're a bit more lenient now with the electronics, aren't you?
So I decided last year that I would allow watches because
Mm.
historically watches haven't been allowed. Well, they've been allowed. People have always used them, but they've had
Yeah.
to carry a handheld GPS.
Mm.
Yeah.
But now they don't have to carry a handheld GPS if their watch is good enough. If it has the right mapping and it's got the right kind of battery life. And again, Lindley's there as our gatekeeper to make sure that's the right move.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, and that makes a big difference to pack weight as well, doesn't it? Because some of those GPS things can be pretty heavy.
Absolutely, absolutely. But again, that's just a case of moving with the times. We we
Mm.
Mm.
we keep up and move with the times in that sense as well. So everything evolves, everything moves
Yeah.
on. That's
And
what.
also it helps keep the cost down as well, doesn't it? Because people are always moaning about that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I've got to buy one. Yeah, I bought when I was entered, I bought a Garmin 64S, which
Yeah.
was I think about 5 years old then anyway, off eBay. Um, and yeah, it's sat in my drawer ever since, completely untouched and unused. But yeah, it's interesting. What else do you think has changed? How else has it evolved over the years?
Oh, well, like I said, all those points. The main one being knowledge. You know, the knowledge of the course now is quite good.
Mm,
People know there's a shed past checkpoint 1.5 that you can go and sleep in, which is okay. There's
yeah.
all those little pieces of information that just help people on the route. Oh, I'm going to get to that, and then I'm going to have a sleep in that cow shed, and I'm going to continue on. Um, so it's things like that, I think has evolved in a good way, really, because it makes it more achievable for more people, and it helps the safety
Mm.
of the race as well.
I mean that just sort of goes to show the community
Yeah.
that's been built up around it as well, hasn't it? And the sort of the Facebook group and the that
Mm.
spine family is incredibly strong, isn't it?
It is, and people are passionate about that as well. They defend the Spine family, and
Mm.
it's great to see. It's great to have help achieve that, if you like. With the amount of people who are passionate about spine race, it's great.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone just helps each other, don't they?
I
You
do.
get a million questions in the group, but you get a million answers, you know, which is
And
lovely.
any newbie who's coming in, and they'll shout a question in the group, and there's
Mm.
always a lot of support there for people who are just coming into it for the first time.
With the course, the Pennine weighs 268 miles, but is the spine race 268 miles?
Well, if you check people's data at the end of it, if you check their Strava distance or whatever it is, then we get differing distances. Some are less than 268, some are more than
Mm.
268. It depends how many times they've had a nav error. You know,
Yeah.
Likely to be, I would say, the majority go further than 268 because 268 is the official length of the Pennine Way, but we take them off the Pennine Way in a few places. So really,
Mm.
they are doing further.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's always the case with like I think Tour de Gion like report theirs is like 330K, but it's always like over 350.
Yeah.
But they're
I
never
think
going to change it.
all ultras have that. But
Yeah.
you've got to give it a distance.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
268
when
official
you
length.
get to those numbers, what's a few here and there?
I mean, it's the same with our Arctic race now as well. The official length that we get is 293, but that's an average. Sometimes it's further, sometimes it's less. It depends, like I say, on all those decisions that you make on the trail and
Mm.
whatnot. But I think that's common within the communities.
So yeah, you mentioned that you've got these other new races that have come up in the Arctic. Tell us about those.
So the Arctic Spine was, oh, we started looking at it back in 2016. We used to go out there and kind of guide people up the Kungsleden, and thought, oh, this would be a great place for a race. So we started planning it. We did a soft launch many years ago up at Tan Hill, to see what the interest was. There was a lot of interest. And then continued to plan. It took quite a few years to get the plan in place, and then we launched. The original Arctic Spine race was going to be a loop. So it was going to go from the Ice Hotel in a place called Jukkasjärvi next to Kiruna, and it was going to go uh, kind of from there, meet the Kungsleden, do the northern section of the Kungsleden to a place called Abisko, and then do the loop back over rivers and lakes and back to the ice hotel. So we recce'd that and did all that. But when we kind of launched it, it didn't grab people's imagination because it was just a loop. It wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't a big picture thing. So then I
Mm.
decided, let's just do the full Kongssleden, from Abisko to a place called Hemavan. And then the interest was spiked because it was a journey. It was from, it was the full length of the Kongssleden, so they could tick off that trail. And it was a linear route, very similar to the spine race. So the similarities are quite nice. We've got less checkpoints. There's more of an emphasis on self-sufficiency, and it is mainly an expedition. It's an expedition race. Race
Mm.
being the lesser of the two. And first year, it was which was only in 2024. We had, I think, 20 people on the start line, and no finishers of the long race, and one finisher of the short race, and then there was a chap who just got the furthest in the time that he had. Conditions then, though, were, we had deep powder snow, so there was a lot of breaking trail, and the lowest temperatures we got was -42. So it was quite brutal in
Yeah.
those terms. And then this year's race in February, at the start line, it was warm. We had +5 degrees, uh,
Wow.
and there was very little snow. And then I think we had +5 degrees overnight, in one day, and stuff melted, and then it froze overnight to -15. So it was sheet ice everywhere. Everyone was wandering around on spikes. And like I said, there wasn't that much snow, so crossing the rivers and lakes became a bit of an issue. So a lot of it was going around them. Some people were going across them. For some people, it was great because it meant it was quicker because there wasn't any snow getting in the way.
Right.
And but it did mean, because it was warm, there was a lot more overflow on the water sections, and some of the rivers hadn't frozen over. So yeah, there was that.
Do,
Um,
do you get people changing, do they carry everything on their back or do they pull a pulk depending on the
they
weather?
they have a choice. So they can pull a sled, they can pull a pulk, or they can carry a backpack. So this year, the chap who finished and won the Challenger race, he carried a backpack. He was used to doing that, and he was quite happy. He's coming back to do the race next year, and he's doing the longer race this time, and he is pulling a sled. So he said for anything longer, you'd need to pull a sled. So he's doing it that way around. So yeah, so like I said, the emphasis on self-reliance on that race is massive because it
Mm.
is an expedition. So the vetting is quite tough. People need to have those skills already in hand. They've need to have done other races similar to that, if not expeditions. Uh, and
Mm. It's that winter training, isn't it? Or that
it is
snow.
yeah. So it's just, people. They need to have those outdoor skills, so they need to know how to put tents up and use stoves and all that kind of stuff. And if they want to do the longer races, then they need to, have been in that environment, have used the kit in that environment,
Mm.
and know how to travel across the snow in that environment, be it on skis or snowshoes, pulling sleds, and being able to operate below -20, below -30. So, it's a pretty serious undertaking.
Yeah.
We do training courses as well to get people up to speed for that. But it's the kind of thing that, anyone who's finished the full winter spine race, they're kind of practically there as far as being able to translate that to coming out to
Mm.
the Arctic and doing one of the shorter races to get into that kind of environment. But then, they already have the base skills to be able to perform, really.
Well, again, it's
Yeah.
that self-management, isn't it?
It is.
That's
It is. I mean, people who finish the winter spine race, it's not easy, and they've got to have something about them to be able to do that. And the personal admin and planning and just toughness really as well,
Mm,
just to get there.
yeah.
Yeah, they've got all the attributes that would be needed to come and do the Arctic Spine Race.
You mentioned other races that might sort of qualify you to join those longer ones. Are there many other races like that?
Cold ones, yeah. So you've got things like the Yukon Ultra,
Right. Yeah.
and there's a Lapland Ultra. There's the Ice Ultra that BTU do.
Hmm.
There's the 6633 in America as well. So there are a few races out there that will give you a lot of experience to come on and do the Arctic Spine Race.
Hmm.
But obviously, the Arctic Spine Race is tougher than all of them.
It's more
And that was the
brutal,
plan.
surely.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, but I would imagine you need to have that experience for any of these races. Um,
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? I don't know what the vetting is like for Yukon or Lapland or 6633, but you'd hope that there'd be some kind
yeah,
of,
this
you
is
know,
it. I mean, you
pressure.
can't just think, oh, I've just done my first 100 miler in Sussex. I'm going to go off and do one of these. I mean, yeah, it's yeah, funny one.
With the races that so you've added the Spine Sprint North, now and there's like the Spine Sprint South. There's a big gap in the middle there. Is there going to be like a Spine Sprint Mid?
Yeah, it has been mentioned the center sprint. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, well, I'm never, my team will hate me for this, but I'm never going to rule anything out.
No.
If there's demand. But I think we're there at the minute
Mm,
for a
Yeah.
few. We have symmetry.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely demand. There's you put a race on, people will sign up to it. I think it's pretty
yeah.
evident, isn't it?
But
Um,
it's also demand from my team as well. From we have a fantastic team of volunteers and staff. It's just every time I add a race, it's like, oh bloody hell, Phil, not another race. Yeah. So it's kind of I've got to be fair to them as well because it is a lot more work.
Yeah.
yeah.
I imagine the logistics also of people being strung along the Pennine Way at various times during the week, that must take some military precision.
Well, like I say, there's a really good team behind it. We have a massive volunteer team as well, and the planning is just on. It's all the time, so it's ongoing. So now, the guys are already planning the summer race, really.
Mm, mm,
Um, so it is a continuous plan and
yeah.
structure just to get everything in place and to recruit the people that's needed and to have that level of support that we've always given and always want to have. So yeah, it
I mean,
is a big undertaking.
it's amazing, isn't it? The volunteers, and I've done it myself, and it was just the best experience. But people will volunteer their time for a whole week to help out in whatever capacity.
Yeah,
That's such a testament, isn't it, really, to the race as well.
it is, and they keep coming back, and so we're doing something right, hopefully,
Mm,
and we do try and look after our volunteers. And it's tiring, it's hard, but hopefully it's rewarding as well. And not all the volunteers are runners. They like to
Mhm.
be involved with these events and
mm,
support them because they like the people on these events and having a lot of like-minded people all together on the same event. That's where the Spine family came from. It's where the Spine bubble is. And you just get lost in it because everyone is really nice and
mm,
gets on and like I say, similar mindset. So everyone just has something in common.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not all about, I mean, do people get race credits for volunteering? I think they do, don't they? Or is
There,
it?
it's going to start. Historically, they haven't. What we've done is we've kind of ran a volunteer lottery. So we have like 10 free places that we give away, and we pull. I think we pull the. We have this big thing on the screen that goes round and set a number. And to keep it fair, if a volunteer wins, but they're not a runner, they don't want to do the race, then they choose a piece of kit from the Montaigne website, that kind of thing.
Oh, nice.
So, if they're not a runner, then it's unfair if they win and they don't want to run, so they need something.
Yeah, that's a really nice idea. When did Montaigne first get involved?
So they got involved in 2014 fully. So the
Oh, right.
2012 race, we didn't have any sponsor. We just kind of just did it on our own and made it happen. And the second race, we had Dare to Be, which are kind of the snow section of regatta. And yeah, they give us so much kit. I've still got kit left from that one in my loft. There's so much kit they give us. And then yeah, Montaigne, we were already talking to Montaigne in 2013. They were
Mm,
watching. And then 2014 they jumped on.
Well, they
amazing.
backed a winner, didn't they?
I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
They've been great as well. They've been a great sponsor. They're not too demanding. They kind of let us get on with it, and over the years they've got involved more and more. So we've evolved that relationship as well, which is nice. Over the years, it hasn't just been a straight in there.
Mm.
We've evolved what we give them, what they give us, and it's a
Mm.
relationship. Long may it continue.
Not just as simple as just putting the name at the front of something and making sure it's in shot
Yeah.
at specific points. Oh, that's nice. I really love that kit link as well for the volunteers. That's really nice. Do you think, because there's been some kit changes this year, is that all part of just forever reviewing whether you need to like keep the
Yeah.
race up to date?
We're always looking at new things, new ways, new kit, and if something happens on the race that dictates that this should change, then we change it.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
so if any kit changes need happening, then that's it. And Lindley's on it, as you know.
yeah, yeah. I don't think you could pick anyone better. I don't think anyone knows the kit as intimately as he does. It's an astounding amount of knowledge that man fits in his head.
Yeah.
He hides it in his beard, I'm sure.
Yeah, he must do.
The other thing that obviously the spine has really stood out for is this new sport of dot watching.
Yeah.
How, I mean, has that shaped the race at all? And has it made any difference to you guys that this side thing has just sort of exploded? And
Huge, absolutely massive. When it first came on, we were looking at it purely from a safety aspect,
mm,
which I'm sure all the other races, do. And it is amazing for safety, where people are all the time. Saves from the early days of standing at roadheads, doing your sums and working out how fast they were going, what length they've got, and hoping they're going to come around the corner. To knowing exactly where they are. But added benefit to that was it became a spectator sport,
no.
which is crazy. And even now, I still watch that map and just watch those dots moving, and you just get hooked.
Mm,
Mm, you do.
And yeah, I think it's great. And people send messages of support to a dot. They
yeah.
don't know the person that they might be sending a message from Australia or wherever, and they're just they just chose a dot that they want to follow, and and that's it.
Yeah.
Dates every 3 or 5 minutes. It's
It is amazing. And I think, I mean, it's definitely started from the spine, but it's sort of grown to other races. And I think really has a significant impact on the sort of spectator side of the sport for trail running, doesn't it?
It does. Absolutely. I don't think there's a race out there at the minute that doesn't use them. It's because I think it would be seen as why aren't you using them, by the insurer or,
Mm,
anything like that. Is if you've got that facility, then why wouldn't you use it to make sure that you know where people are? So
mm,
yeah, it's yeah,
Mm.
it was a game changer, I would say.
yeah.
And for the industry as well. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's brilliant. It allows people who aren't runners um to almost be a part of that spine family as well, aren't they?
Well, that is the wider family really is all the
Mm,
dog watchers around the world.
mm.
There's also like the mix of reality and not reality with watching it because you can be just staring at a dot. You're like, have they not gone any further than that in the last half an hour? Like you're so far removed from just staring at this map that I imagine some people look at it and go, "Oh, I could do that. I'll sign up to the spine next year. It's take a week. I could do that in a week or less than a week."
But you get the
Yes.
swing side of that as well, where you get the people who realize, just how much of an undertaking it is. They'll watch the dot and they'll go to bed and they'll see the dot where it is and they'll go to bed, go to sleep, they get up in the morning, have a cup of tea and go back and see the dot and think, while I've been asleep, that person has just continued to move through the night. Yeah, and
Mm,
it's that realization that people are out there running along this trail while everyone else is in bed, and it
yeah.
just that that aspect of the race is amazing, really.
Yeah, it is, and it's never as far as you think. But I think people, I mean, the amount of people who recce the course, I think the people must recce the spine more than they do pretty much any other race. Because I swear I don't see people going out to really study a course as much as they do the spine. I think it's just the Pennine Way, just demands it almost.
You definitely stand a much better chance of finishing if you've recce'd.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to recce it to finish. We have had many people who haven't recce'd it who've finished very well, but you stand a much better chance if you've recce'd,
Mm,
especially the tricky bits. You don't really have to recce the Cam High Road. It's kind of obvious, but yeah, there are little tricky sections that through Keld and Thwaite and places like that because you might go through there in the middle of the night or deep snow.
mm,
If you know it, then it just makes that much sense to recce.
Mm. Yeah, there's so many little tiny back corners where you have to do a little zigzag here and there, and the cost of going wrong is just too enormous, isn't it?
Mainly in the towns and villages that you can get
Mm.
completely lost. Coming into Hebden Bridge, there are so many trails all over the place. Yeah,
Oh, and that downhill down to the checkpoint is so mean. It's horrible.
uh, we have looked at changing that over the years, and because it is a bit cruel making them run down that muddy hill and then back up the muddy hill. There's not much around there which fits
No.
our needs really.
mm. With when I first went I just went to see the Spine start this year for the first time, and I was just blown away by the organization of it all, like all the big vehicles with Spine on them and everything like that. I didn't expect it because I suppose like looking at the cost of the Spine, just for face value, you look 5 checkpoints, £1,000. That seems ridiculous. Like, how could it cost this much money? But then when you actually go down there and see how much work is actually involved, it quite quickly unravels that it's not as simple as that.
No. Last winter we had over 400 volunteers.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's quite a lot.
That is a lot, and these people, like you said earlier, they give their time to come and help out. We pay expenses, we try and give them gifts and whatnot. So we don't really want anyone seriously out of pocket when they come on the spine race, but we just, it runs on the back of people's good faith and volunteering, which
Hmm.
is always a big thank you to everyone at the end of it.
It's funny that, isn't it? Because you just look at it and think, few people at the start, few people at each checkpoint. That's probably enough. But like, it goes from sort of 30 people to 400 people. Like, it's
It's
mind
yeah,
blowing.
yeah, it's a lot, isn't it? Have you found you've had to sort of adjust the timings with checkpoints? H- how how do you manage sort of the flow of people? Because particularly when you got sort of a couple of races going through at any one time, does that have to be managed so there's not too many all at once?
It kind of does. It doesn't necessarily affect. I mean, checkpoint one is the one that gets hammered the most.
Mm.
Because people are, it's only 46 miles in. People are still quite close together. People come in there in gangs. As the course goes up, it's not too bad. People get nicely spread out. They're still hit, but not as hard as checkpoint one. But what is happening, because we've got like the Challenger North that starts in Hardraw, and that can affect, because then the spine comes through, and then the Challenger North's there as well, and that's affected places like checkpoint three, um, and checkpoint four. So a few adjustments have been made in the past to try and make that work, and we've done another one for this year. So we used to start the Challenger North on the Sunday morning.
Mm.
We're now going to start it as we have done previously on the Monday evening at 6 o'clock. So we're hoping that will ease the pressure at places like Langdon Beck, which is checkpoint three. So
Does
uh,
that mean they're getting in ahead of
so
the full
yeah,
spiners?
so they'll be further up the course
Yeah.
because the spine
Okay.
doesn't start till Sunday morning. So they've got
Mm.
an extra few hours ahead of the spine to ease
Mm.
that part of it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it just again, it's the logistics and the planning that must go into it. Must be mind blowing, actually.
Yeah.
And then you got the variables. You got the start of the pack and the back of the pack as well, and that's got to be hours and hours in between them.
Oh, sometimes days.
Mm, mm.
Um, we do have a big stretch. I think we call it Stretch Tuesday.
Okay.
We've got people way down there in probably Cam Road, and then people who are nearly finishing. So
Mm.
the stretch is pretty extreme, and to stretch your safety team that thin is something else as well, and to have so many checkpoints open as well at the same.
Mm,
So that's
Mm.
why we have so many volunteers, really. Yeah, it's a big undertaking, but it's grown organically. So, we've kind of added things when we've needed them, and then that's grown nicely. So it hasn't just gone right, bang, there you go. There's a massive race. There's going to be a big spread sorted out. We've kind of grown with it. So
yeah.
it's
Mm.
worked well in that sense.
Did you
That's probably
introduce? Oh, no, go on.
no. I was just going to say that's probably one of the reasons why you're successful because you have grown and adapted and changed as it's grown.
Yeah, I would like to
Mm,
think so.
yeah.
Like to think
Yeah.
so.
Sorry,
With
Robert.
did you introduce the South and the North at the same time?
No.
What came first and why?
So the original races were the Challenger and the
Yeah.
Full Line. So that's what we launched right at the beginning in 2012. It became the Challenger South because we introduced the Challenger North.
Right.
So, and then people were, oh, we should have a short race. So then it was the Sprint South,
Mm.
because the Sprint South it's kind of easier to logistically it's easy. It's easier to support. The Northern Sprint a little bit trickier with starting in Bellingham. Bellingham is not a very big place, tricky to get to. So we
Mm.
needed to test that to see how that worked. And then Kirk Yettam isn't massive either. So
Right.
test how that would work as well. So it seemed to work all right in the summer, and so we're giving it a go in the winter.
Was the Challenger or 108 miles as well? Like imagine did that not change? Just the name changed.
So the Challenger South, yeah, it's 108 miles up
Yeah.
to Hawes, and then the Challenger North. We just thought we'd start from the same place Challenger South finishes, and that's just 160 miles. But again, they're not fixed mileage. Yeah, so you might do more than that, you might do less,
Yeah.
but they're the official kind of distances, if you
Yeah.
like.
What I'm getting at is, and that's probably just like an OCD sort of thing, is like, why did you not go halfway? Why did you choose 108?
I get you. Yeah. What their early thinking was there was, let's call it a century. The original name for the Challenger South was the Centurion. Uh,
Right.
until Centurion Racing sent us a message, said you can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, good point. So we won't do.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Do you see in the sort of the future of ultras, do you see sort of expedition style racing becoming more popular as people look for a bigger and more different challenge?
I don't know. I would like to think so. People do enjoy the next big thing, the next challenge, to challenge themselves. But there's also, a whole bunch of people who just like to do ultras. Um, and the distance is the thing for a lot of people.
Mm,
I was speaking to, a bunch of people who are doing a BTU event, and they would say, "Oh yeah, spine sounds good," and then one of them said, "You have to navigate, don't you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Ah, that's not for me." So, there's people who they want to push themselves more than just the run,
mm.
navigation, self-reliance, maybe some expedition skills of putting up tents and stuff. But a lot of people out there just like to run fast and have the whole thing marked out.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I wonder if the multi-day is a more attractive option for those who do just prefer to run, because it's a more sort of standard layout, isn't it? And they actually get to stop for the night properly.
A staged race, yeah, yeah. I
Mm,
think, yeah, and there's definitely a place for everything out there.
yeah.
Mm. Especially in the longer race, because there isn't that many longer races.
No, I'm thinking in the UK, there's Mark Cobain's events, aren't there? The Lon
Mhm.
Lass, and um, he's come up with some silly events, hasn't he?
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
but I can't really think. I don't know. In the arc of attrition, that is the longest one is 100 miles, isn't it? So that, that's
Mm.
that's easy. It doesn't really count, does it?
The Offa's Dyke race, how far is that? That's quite far, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, that's another one of Mark's, isn't it?
Is it?
What's that one, sorry?
Offers Dyke.
All right, yeah, that'll be longer than 100, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you got Shane's races, they're pretty long.
Mm.
They're staged, so
Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing staged spine? If they could do 53 miles a day, nice little camp at night.
no.
No,
No.
too easy.
Too easy.
Yeah, it's just it's a completely different animal, isn't it? I mean, it just
Mm.
changes the whole.
You could do
And
it at a different time of year. It could be spring.
oh, Robin, stop it.
I think I'm gonna have to do something special for the 20th anniversary, I guess. Um, but that's yeah, we got a while to go before that. But it's
Yes.
maybe a reverse.
Oh yeah. Oh, I like that.
Oh,
That's a
oh.
cool idea.
And we need to arrange for a proper winter as well.
Yes. Well,
I do
But
remember actually the first time I was aware of the spine was a friend of mine, Alan Rumbles. He was doing it.
yeah.
You must know Alan, don't you? And you had proper winter weather for that one, because I remember that you had to stop them for, was it 12 or 24 hours or something? And he was tweeting madly from wherever hut he was stuck in.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And
I
that
hate
that
I hate
wasn't.
stopping the race. I hate stopping the race. The problem was, the runners could do it. It wouldn't stop a runner.
Mm,
But it was our support teams that couldn't get between checkpoints or couldn't, if we haven't got the safety network out there, then we can't do the race. Uh,
yeah, of
is
course, yeah.
runners are very, very tough, very resilient, get through most things. But if we can't get there to support that, then we have to stop it. That's what
Yes.
we're doing there.
I
Oh,
never thought
interesting.
about it from that
No, I
standpoint.
hadn't.
No.
No, I assumed it was for the runner's safety, that you didn't want them up, in the
It
middle of
was.
nowhere. Well, yeah, but uh, but yes, if you can't actually reach them because the road's closed or something, then yeah, yeah. Well, still, I mean, it added that element of that made me go, "Oh, what is this?"
Are you ever going to get a spine branded helicopter?
Oh, wouldn't that be nice? Yes. If we can get one sponsored, that'd be great. If
Yeah.
you know anyone.
Uh,
I
Sure,
think
we can
um,
get.
I think the environmentalists might smack us down on that one though.
Yeah, they might do a little bit. Yeah. It
Yeah.
looked cool though.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And hanging out the side of a helicopter, that would be great.
Britain's most
Yeah.
brutal helicopter. Yeah.
It'd be like Annika Rice. You could just be like pointing at them below. There they go.
God, that would be incredible, actually.
Yeah. I'm full of good ideas today.
Yeah, you are. You are. Well, I suppose that's another aspect of it, isn't it? Is the media side, not just the digital dot tracking, but the camera work. Um, and I mean,
Absolutely.
you've got loads of teams, haven't you now?
It's the storytelling is so important
Mm,
Mm,
on the race. People's journeys, people's stories, that kind of thing. And the people who are watching, even they're watching a dot, they also like to watch the daily videos, updates, and we do try and keep it exciting. And our media team has grown over the years, and lots of new ideas coming through of potentially doing like a live streaming thing.
mm,
And having Roman reporters that they can tune into, and so someone in a kind of a studio saying, "Okay, yeah, what's happening at checkpoint one?" And so there's all sorts of ideas that are
mm,
coming through there. But the media team do an absolute cracking job.
yeah.
They always
yeah,
have, and it's all about telling the story of certain people on the race and the race at the same time.
yeah.
It was one of the things that attracted me to the race in the first place were the YouTube videos. And that just sort of like pulls you into these people's stories, and like you end up watching it like, oh, want to hear from that guy again. I wonder how he's doing. Is he still going on like the fourth day?
Absolutely, and you can equate that to a dot as well, so it's kind of
Mm,
Mm.
it's
Well,
fun.
it's seeing normal people do extraordinary things, and it makes you think maybe I could do that.
mhm,
Most people can. Most people, if you put your mind to it and you do the training and you do your research and you get the right kit, and
Mm,
there's no reason why you can't. It is definitely doable. We have had people who've walked the spine race.
mm.
Yeah.
mm,
What do you have to, what sort of mileage do you have to do? I'm sure if I figured it out somewhere, but
mhm.
if you were, well, on a daily basis, what sort of mileage do you have to do if you were say going to walk it and you were going to maximize that
I think it's
156?
around about like 42 miles a day that you have to be doing
Yeah.
regularly every day. But
I
that's
could
for
do
the
that
full
and have a
time.
sleep.
So that'll be, for the kind of 7 days, if you like.
Mm.
Mm.
6.5, it's coming.
Oh, you can have plenty of naps in that, can't you?
Yeah, you'll need him.
Yeah, yeah. Have you got any more questions, Robin?
I've run out of my questions.
Oh, well, I want to know. So, okay, you're not going to do any more spine races. Um,
In the
well,
UK.
sorry, any more Pennine Way add-ons? Have you got any other races planned? Well, in the UK or elsewhere, or are you
Um,
sticking to the polar stuff?
well, nothing planned in the UK as yet. Um, but we've got the Arctic Spine in Sweden. And I am kind of heading back to the polar kind of part of
Mm,
because I love it. I love the polar regions. It's why the spine was created.
yeah,
Back of the race we used to do the Magpole. So there is plans afoot for all sorts of crazy places like Greenland, potentially back to the North Pole. Mongolia. So always looking for new exciting
yeah,
places to go and do.
brilliant.
Awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. It's been absolutely fascinating. I can't wait, obviously, for it's difficult, isn't it? Next year's race.
Yeah.
It makes it sound
It
so
is,
far
yeah.
away, but next
Next.
month's race.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope it goes very, very well. I hope it's frosty and
It'd be nice. It'd be nice to have a
yeah,
cold, crispy air with a
yeah.
bit of
Mm.
snow
It
on
started so
the high points.
positively last year, didn't it? And then it kind of melted out.
It
Yeah.
was great. The start last year was amazing. It was all
Mm,
it looked fantastic.
It
And
did.
and it melted. And
Yeah, great for the photographers.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, brilliant. Thank you so much, Phil. Really grateful for you taking your time out before ahead of the event. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.